LA Sparks was definitely a game they could win. I've got some serious questions that I want to bring to the table that I do want to ask. Does the WNBA understand that Caitlin Clark needs a high level, high profile coach? Does the WNBA players who have been and existed in this league the minute they accepted charter flights was the moment the WNBA or the W does not belong to the WNBA players anymore? And that's 100%. And as far as Caitlin Clark, is Caitlin Clark by far, bar none, the best player that has entered into the WNBA? Those are my questions that I have, and I'm going to walk you down this. Kind of a little disappointed, I'd say, as far as looking at what took place last night. Caitlin Clark. And here's the deal: Caitlin Clark scored 30 points. Okay, scored 30 points last night. Dominated the game as a 5-star player. Now, when I say a 5-star player, dominated the game from scoring, assists, passing, defense, and the most important stat that anyone could have is the defensive blocks. And folks, I'll tell you, I mean, there's NBA prospects that couldn't do what Caitlin Clark did last night by reading the plays and blocking the shots. Okay, and here's where I get a little confused, and I'll look at Christy Sides, and I get Christy Sides a little bit, but I don't get her message. And here's where I'm at with this with the WNBA. You bring in a $30 million a year player. This is a $30 million a year player, Caitlin Clark. But you bring in a just recently signed $500,000 a year coach. And the instruction and the way this is being handled, this is a nightmare. And when you look at Christy Sides and what Christy Sides does and how she coaches this team, this one here has just gotten a little away from me. And all I ever hear her trying to do is complain, complain. We got to learn, we got to learn, we got to learn. Folks, has anybody ever stopped in moment and to the WNBA players? Because here's where I'm going. This league is not your league anymore. And the minute the WNBA players went in there and accepted the chartered flights, that's the minute the league no longer became your league. And when you look at this collectively, I mean, you get national exposure. You're getting what you've been asking for. However, the level of performance is below the standard of women's professional basketball. And here I am. This is the Money Mike syndicated radio podcast. And where am I going with this? And why am I saying this? Folks, I don't mean to be confused, but if you look at the NBA, the National Basketball Association, and I really break it down in the NFL, because the coach in the NFL, you got to know how to coach. Okay, you got to know how to coach situational basketball. And I don't know if this one caught the WNBA off guard. Did it catch Kathy Engelbert off guard? But here's what you've done. You've set up a national television schedule. You're premiering Caitlin Clark. You are giving the world a poor display of professional basketball. And then you're also excusing the bad behavior, the bad coaching, okay, to be acceptable as to say these players must improve. They need to get better. Folks, this is 144 players that play in the WNBA. They are professionals. When you get drafted and you hold up your bargain as Caitlin Clark is doing as the #1 pick in the NBA, everyone else needs to carry weight. Let's look at the box score. Let me show you what I mean. You get to the point with the Indiana Fever, okay? You got Boston's turned it around. And folks, I go to the plus minus. If you ever want to know, and this is a stat they really don't want to show you, but if you ever want to know what's going on, who's playing well on the court and who's not, who's getting it done, and Christy Sides hasn't figured this out yet, or else she would just make lineup changes associated to the plus minus. But the plus minus tells you who's on the floor, who's producing, and what their results while they're getting minutes. Now, here's the deal. You look at Boston last night in the loss. Boston, they lost the game, but Boston is a plus 12. Okay. Bambinier is a +5. Here's the deal with Mitchell. Now, I've been campaigning for you to be the point guard, but not after this performance. Mitchell, you have got to be kidding me. Mitchell played 29 minutes, is a -17 when you lose a ball game by 6 points. That's literally impossible. Okay, you got Caitlin Clark scores 30 points, 7 of 16, 3 from 10. And here's where I have a problem with Christy Sides because the relocation of Caitlin Clark is so important. You saw a little glimpse of it last night. She could drop 50 points a game. Okay, literally 50 points a game. On top of that, Caitlin Clark goes back and blocks 3 shots. So really, what is Caitlin Clark doing? And folks, for NBA prospects, we can't even get NBA prospects to do this. Caitlin Clark is committed to guarding all 5 players on the court. Okay, she's not worried about her players. She's down there helping on the defensive side, coming from behind. The ball's exposed, blocking the shot. Her basketball IQ is on the level of LeBron James. Okay, and I have no idea for the life of me how the Indiana Fever and you look at Christy Sides and you're talking about practice and improvement. As someone told Christy Sides, this is the WNBA, these, as the women claim, I don't believe it is because I believe the world has better basketball players. I don't believe these are 144 best players in the world. To me, they're not, okay, because I could see the basketball IQ, and I see Caitlin Clark taking the floor with a basketball IQ the level of LeBron James, okay, but I got a coach, okay, who's throttling down, okay. It's like putting a governor on the engine. The engine can go 300 miles an hour, but you've got to test it down to go 60 miles an hour, okay. And here's the biggest one. When I get to Smith, coming off the bench playing 19 minutes, and you're a -24. A -24. So you put her and Mitchell together, they're a -41, okay? And they got darn near 39, 40, almost 50 minutes on the court. Folks, that should not happen. That should not happen. Where am I